Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
During the Great Depression, most people were scraping together pennies just to survive. One guy figured out a more efficient strategy: marry lonely women, take their money, and then they mysteriously stopped showing up to dinner. He called himself a wealthy widower. He said he owned a 10-room mansion. What he actually had was a garage behind his wife's grocery store and a talent for lying through his teeth. This is the story of Harry Powers, part con man, part predator, and a walking red flag in a pinstripe suit. Before we jump into this story, if you like your true crime bingeable, you're exactly where you need to be. Hit follow now for at least 2 new episodes every week. This is 10-Minute Murder. Let's get into it. The Great Depression didn't exactly come with a warning label. One minute, people were building futures, thriving. The next, they were broke, hungry, and hanging on by a thread. And while most folks tried to survive with what little they had, one man saw an opportunity to climb out of poverty by using other people as his ladder. His name was Harm Drenthe. Born in the Netherlands in 1892, he immigrated to the U.S. with his parents in 1910. Landing in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. His family settled into the local Dutch community, living quietly and minding their own business. But Harm wanted more than quiet. He wanted out. He threw himself into learning English and got good at it. By the time he served in World War I, he sounded like any other American kid. When he came back, he reintroduced himself as Harry Powers. The quiet immigrant son had vanished, replaced by a guy who claimed to be a successful oil stock promoter in Oklahoma. He wasn't, obviously, but pretending paid better. In 1927, now in his 30s, Harry responded to a Lonely Hearts ad from a woman named Luella Struther. She owned her own farm and a grocery store, which, to Harry, might as well have been a jackpot. Then he got married, and that's when it clicked. He'd tried making money the honest way. He'd even dabbled in making it dishonestly. But marrying a woman with money? That was clean, simple, and legally binding. And during a time when half the country was barely scraping by, Harry Powers decided that love letters were the new con game. He just needed enough desperate people to believe he was worth trusting. By the time the Great Depression tightened its grip, the world had already been through a war, and it left behind a wave of women who had lost their husbands to the battlefield. These women suddenly expected to raise families alone with whatever their late partners left behind. Some had land, some had a little money, and all of them had the same thing Harry Powers was looking for: vulnerability. Still married to Luella, Harry started moonlighting as several other men. He wrote back to Lonely Hearts ads in newspapers and even ran a few of his own. All of them shouted in all caps, just in case desperation wasn't loud enough. Wealthy widower worth $150,000. A very fine-looking man of 38. He claimed he was too busy with business enterprises to make friends, but was looking for a faithful woman who'd enjoy his 10-room house, her own car, and more spending money than she'd know what to do with. None of it was real. His wife, Luella, was alive and still very much married to him. That house didn't exist. What he did have was a garage he'd converted into a private hideout behind her grocery store. That was his office, his workshop, and as we'll later find out, something far worse. His fake ads pulled in women at a steady pace. Many were war widows with children and no financial safety net. So when someone offered them food, shelter, and a second chance, it was easy to believe the fantasy. Harry reportedly got between 10 and 20 letters a day. One of those letters came from Asta Eicher in Park Ridge, Illinois. Asta was a widow with 3 kids. Unlike many others, she still had a little financial stability, but she was carrying the weight of it all alone. When Harry, using the name Cornelius Orvin Pearson, started writing her, he said all the right things. The timing, the tone, the promises. She wanted someone to help carry the load. She had no idea she was walking into the hands of someone who only wanted to take more. When Harry, now going by Cornelius Orvin Pearson, showed up at Asta's door in Park Ridge, Illinois, he didn't set off any alarms. He seemed polite, charming, maybe even a little awkward. But Asta liked him. Enough, apparently, to agree to go away with him on a trip and leave her 3 children behind. That was a big decision, but she'd written home to say things with Cornelius were serious. She wanted her children to join them soon. So when Cornelius came back about a week later, alone, no one really panicked. He said Asta had everything arranged and the kids could pack up their things now. They were going to be a family again. He handed over a check from Asta and sent one of the kids to the bank to clean out her account. But the bank teller took one look at the signature and paused. It didn't match any of Asta's previous checks. They flagged it and sent the child back with nothing. Cornelius didn't wait around. He gathered up the kids and left, telling neighbors they were off to Europe. Just like that, the entire Eicher family disappeared. No calls, no postcards, no return. While that was happening in Illinois, over in Massachusetts, another woman named Dorothy Pressler was packing for what she thought was her future. She had met a charming man through a Lonely Hearts ad. They were engaged, and he'd asked her to withdraw $4,000 before the wedding. She did. Then she moved to West Virginia to be with her new husband. No one ever heard from her again. By the summer of 1931, nearly a year after that forged check stunt at the bank, Harry Powers returned to the Eicher home. This time, he wasn't charming. He wasn't pretending to court anyone. He was there to clean it out. And that's when people finally started to pay attention. It took a while, but people started connecting the dots. A family vanished. A strange man came and went, and suddenly, neighbors who'd brushed it off were asking real questions now. Once the police stepped in, they found a stack of letters between Asta and the man she knew as Cornelius. That trail led them straight to a garage behind a grocery store in West Virginia, where Harry Powers still lived with Luella. He hadn't exactly covered his tracks. He was smart, but also real dumb. Inside that 4-room garage, investigators walked into what can only be described as a crime scene frozen in chaos. Bloody clothing, clumps of hair, and a child-sized bloody footprint stamped into the floor. Word got out fast. Crowds showed up. The chaos spilled out into the streets. Then a local kid came forward. He told police he'd helped Harry dig a ditch in the backyard not long ago. That's where they found the bodies of Asta Eicher, her 3 children, and Dorothy Pressler. Asta and her daughters had been strangled. Her son had been beaten with a hammer. Dorothy was also strangled, and the belt used to kill her was still around her neck. When police searched Harry's car, they found hundreds of letters from other women, each one a potential victim. The press gave him a new nickname, the Bluebeard Killer, borrowed from an old folk tale about a man who killed his wives. But this wasn't folklore. It was real, and the timing made it even harder. People were already struggling to feed their families and trust their futures. This man comes along, preying on grief and loneliness for his own gain. The public was furious. Not long after his arrest, Harry conveniently fell down the stairs, if you know what I'm saying, and ended up with 2 black eyes. His home turned into a sideshow attraction. Promoters actually built a 6-foot-high fence around the garage and a burial site where they charged admission. That lasted one night. Roughly 200 people rushed the scene and set the garage on fire. A week later, nearly 5,000 people surrounded the jail where Harry was being held. They wanted him, not for justice, but for revenge. The police had to use tear gas and fire hoses to break it up, and Harry was quietly transferred to a more secure state prison. His trial didn't calm anyone down. It only lasted 5 days, but the crowd was so large they had to hold it in a local opera house. Witnesses took the stand, connecting Harry to the victims and their personal belongings. It was enough. He was sentenced to death. The following spring, Harry Powers walked into the gallows dressed to the nines. Dark pinstripe suit, white shirt, black tie. Cool as ever. He declined to make a final statement. The guard placed the hood over his head, pulled the lever, and that was it. He hung there for 11 minutes before he was declared dead. Thanks for listening to 10-Minute Murder, bingeable true crime stories. My name is Joe. I'm the host, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen. If you're off to binge more, don't let me stop you. Keep right on cooking. But about today's story, this guy, Harry Powers, his former name, Harm, which I guess is fitting, he saw this grief and this struggle, the desperation that people were going through back around that time. No doubt rubbed his hands together and said, these are the perfect conditions for a scam. He sold himself with these fake names and these fake ads and just preyed on everyone he possibly could. And if you think for 1 second, even though these Lonely Hearts ads don't exist in the same way now as they used to, if you don't think there are people on Tinder and Bumble and Craigslist, I suppose, I don't know how people do things nowadays, but if you don't think there are people exactly like this out there trying to prey on you, then you're out of your mind. This is absolutely happening. Just because we don't hear about it all the time, I think our BS meters are a little bit better than they were back then, but it's definitely still happening, so keep your head on a swivel. Hey, if you're brand new to listening to 10-Minute Murder, first of all, welcome. Second, make sure to go to 10minutemurder.com. There you're going to find more stories, back episodes. You can find transcripts. You can find a blog, photos, a way to contact me, the links to social media, links to listen everywhere. You can find that all at 10minutemurder.com. And if you're an OG listener, you've been around a while, I love you with every piece of my heart. That's going to do it for today, and I'll see you next time.